I'm here at the newly expanded Tesla Supercharger station that has 60 stalls in Halifax, North Carolina, directly off Interstate 95. I'm going to do a news coolum site review method of this newly expanded and very important Tesla Supercharger station. This station constitutes the largest EV charging station on the East Coast. Let's get into it. Okay, this site is pretty big, so I'm going to try to use the drone to do a walk around. Let's go ahead and see if it'll start to follow me. It's supposed to. Yeah. Okay, so right here we have the first transformer. This is for the convenience store. This doesn't have anything to do with the charging site. There's 3 transformers associated with the Tesla Supercharger. This is the first one. It is... I don't see the size. It's got to be here somewhere. Oh, 2500 kVA, and there are 6 supercharger cabinets. So a total of 15 supercharger cabinets at this station. And there's 6 of them. I'm not quite sure how these are split, but as you can see, we've got despairing form factors of stalls. We have underneath the canopy the solar canopy, which actually doesn't protect from the rain very well. There's the water that intrudes between the panels, so rain does get in there. I'm not going to bring the drone in there. But then you have very common nose-in stalls, V4 cabinets. This station is a split between V3 and V4 cabinets. The newer ones that were part of the expansion are all V4, and the existing station, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 stalls are V3 cabinets. Over here is the second batch of cabinets. As you can see, there's 6 cabinets and another 2500 kVA transformer. So this is the second transformer. Let's keep walking on around. So far the drone is doing pretty good. I'm impressed. We had a bit of a rain, snow, ice event last night, so there's pretty good puddling of water. And over here is the very rare Tesla Supercharger pull-through stall. And it's just 1 dispenser. So I guess you could charge and still not obstruct the traffic flow, which is kind of interesting. So there's 1 pull-through. There probably should be some more. Let's go ahead and keep on walking around. We're now on the back side of the canopy. Again, I'm keeping my drone away from the canopy because drones and water don't mix very well. And going over to the previous V3 stalls, as you can see as we approach, there is also the single charger. It's a CPE250 if you don't have access to the Tesla Supercharger. It's only 50 kilowatts, so you can post up here at a Porsche Taycan, and sadly you can only get 50 kilowatts. But here are the V3 stalls, the 12 V3 stalls. They look like prefabricated supercharger units. There are 3 cabinets, 12 dispensers with garbage cans and squeegees. Also, I'd like to point out, this is also pretty rare, and I'm assuming the site host is providing it, but there's a pet station. So boy, do they have just about everything here. Let's go ahead and go back over to the canopy area. And on the top of the canopy it says Tesla, very distinctive. So they didn't follow the design pattern of the site host, which is what Iona does. Tesla stuck to their own design language for their canopy. Even still, very thankful to have it. And as we approach, you can see the photovoltaic electronics right here. And if you look right here, I don't want to get too close because the drone might get wet, but there's a spigot with a hose. Let me see if this thing works. I'm guessing it does. Maybe. No, I'm guessing not. Maybe it's not on. It seems a little broken. I don't know. But at least it's installed. Maybe after servicing it'll be open. But it's a water spigot. I guess for people who are doing camping and need a refill of water, or if you just want to hose off your car, which is really what I like to do on a day like today where there's a lot of salt on the interstate, being able to hose off your car is definitely a luxury. And then a very short walk from the charging stalls is the attached facility, open 24/7, 365. And as I showed, Interstate 95 is just right up here. That's Interstate 95. Okay, this station has everything. The road I'm currently on is two-way directional, which is really nice. At first, when I came in, I thought this was a one-way directional, which would have been a little bit tricky to navigate. But as it stands, it is two-way directional, making easy ingress, egress. And I'm going to do the charging portion of the video over here. Oh, yeah. Just because the canopy does leak a little bit, and I don't want any of my electronics to get a stray drop of water in the wrong place. And I don't know if it was on purpose or by accident, but Tesla recently announced that they are building a very large station in California off Interstate 5 that is going to be called the Oasis. Now, that will be the largest one on the West Coast. This is the largest one on the East Coast, and it also is at a location called the Oasis. Okay, so we've run into a problem. On the Tesla app, you can see the posts here, but there are no labels. I've just spent the last 5 minutes looking for any indication which dispenser I'm plugged into, and they haven't labeled them yet. And I'm thinking it's because they're so new or something. And I walked up and down here, so all the V4 dispensers are here, but unless you're in a Tesla, I don't think there's any way of using them unless you could just randomly guess, 1 through 60, which dispenser you're connected to. The V3 dispensers over there do have labels on the bottom, so very likely I'm going to have to go over there in order to get a charge. Okay, we didn't want to charge at those new and shiny V4 dispensers anyway. We wanted to charge at these old, reliable Soviet-era V3 dispensers, right? That have labels on them. Okay, kind of frustrating. And I'm pulling into dispenser 3C. I'm guessing because the site is so new, they haven't come through and put on the labels yet. Fortunately, with the V3, I really got to snug up because the cable is kind of short. My charge port door is in the same location as Tesla puts theirs. Volvo has done that. So I do have that going for me. Okay. There we go. Okay, as you can see, I posted up here with 17% state of charge. I'm currently pulling about 130 kilowatts. I would expect a little bit more, but it is kind of cold today. As you can see, it's 43 degrees. Last night it dropped into the low 30s and we had a bit of a snow ice event, but sun is out now and it is warming up, so hopefully we'll get closer to the 155 that the Volvo XC40 Recharge can receive. But I think because of the amperage of the cables, maybe that 130 is max. I'll have to crack out my math to see what I can expect max throughput on a V3 supercharger. Honestly, I haven't done that before. Okay, one thing I'd like to point out, I mentioned speed as I was plugging in, is there are 6 Tesla V3 supercharger cabinets paired to this transformer, which is 2500 kVA. Now, because these 6 cabinets are connected via a DC bus, that means that half of the 48 V4 dispensers can share power amongst each other. So it doesn't really matter what cabinet you're connected to on your dispenser. I mean, once they get them labeled for non-Teslas or other people who don't have plug-in charge, all the power from the transformer is basically available to the throughput of the maximum throughput of the V4 dispenser that can be supplied from the cabinet. So very intelligent. Unless the site is fully loaded and with 60 stalls, I mean, that's going to be a long time before that ever happens. I suppose in a future holiday weekend, conceivably this will be fully loaded, but even if there's a couple of stalls open, because of the intelligent load balancing, they could distribute the power and still basically everyone get all the power that they're being requested, because you have to be at low state of charge in order to be requesting full power and all that. So you'd have to have a very perfect storm in order to be able to max out this site. Now, I do want to point out that the version 4 cabinets, as I understand, are not going to have the DC bus anymore. There was also a mention of increased efficiency. It wasn't explicitly mentioned, but I'm assuming that's because they're going to have a silicon carbide rectifier similar to the ChemPower SiC power modules and the Alpitronic hyperchargers that use silicon carbide rectifiers. So in a future Tesla supercharger station that has a V4 cabinet that will be using a silicon carbide rectifier, a little bit benefit really to Tesla, because that means the power coming out of here that goes into the cabinet is all getting dispensed mostly to, is near lossless transfer. These that don't use silicon carbide rectifiers have a little bit of loss. So that means the energy that's drawn from here and delivered to the customer is lost a little bit. So Tesla gets billed more than they can bill the customer for. So it's basically a benefit for Tesla to use the silicon carbide rectifier in the V4 cabinet, but no DC bus. Now this is interesting. Brandon Flash recently did a site visit video of this location, which I'll link down below in the description, and you mentioned this map. It doesn't say, unless I could get in really close, nope, it doesn't say which pedestal is which, so I'm still unsure, but it does show the cluster of cabinets. We have switchgear in cabinet number 1, number 2, and number 3, so we could, I guess, help guess a little bit about which is which, but this being such a large site, it does have a site map. And not a surprise, we've got Lincoln Electric switchgear. This is 3,000 amps, 480-277, 3-phase, 4-wire, 100% rated, which, from what I understand from Brandon, is larger than usual, and also the form factor of this is a little bit different, but really nothing unusual there. 3-phase, 4-wire, so it's not a main lug only, it's a 3-phase, 4-wire. Here's the second one servicing the V4 dispensers. Again, it is Lincoln Electric, 480-277, 3-phase, 4-wire, 100% rated. Service switchboard number 1, as was referred to on the map. And there's also a map over here. Let me swing to that. Okay, so 1 is the photovoltaic utility service disconnect, which is up here, which is right over this way. 3 is the supercharger service disconnect, which would be right around where I am. I don't really see that. I'm assuming it's either in this cabinet or something. And then 2 is another supercharger disconnect, which is in the cabinets over there, which we were just looking at.
Here's the vital statistics. It's the Tesla Supercharger station in Halifax, North Carolina, off Interstate 95. The plug-share location will be linked down below in the description. It has 60 stalls fed from 3 transformers and 15 Tesla Supercharger cabinets. It does have plug and charge for Rivian, Ford, and Tesla. The News Coulomb Site Review model is a 50-point scoring method in 5 categories: access, amenities, concentration, location, and speed. Each category has 10 points. The location is immediately off Interstate 95, a very short distance from getting off the interstate to getting onto the property. There are gas pumps when you first enter the property, but immediately past those is where the Tesla Supercharger station is. In fact, when I was walking to get some drone shots, I was able to walk all the way to the shoulder of Interstate 95. There was a small fence barrier blocking me, but otherwise it's immediately next to Interstate 95. Now let's get into the points. The first category is access. It cleared the category except for point of sale options. Tesla Superchargers do not have the ability to swipe a credit card to pay or use Apple Pay or Google Pay. But otherwise, it does have an ADA compliant space. In fact, there was a couple of them. It does have the single pull-through stall, so it got a check mark there. And cable management, enforcing against icing. In fact, the whole area is kind of enforced against icing. It is near the entrance to the site, as I mentioned, and a very short walk to the amenities. It is also near Interstate 95, as I mentioned, and it does have app plug and charge options, and the stall count is definitely sufficient. In amenities, it got all 10 points, which is really saying something. The attached facility is open 24/7, 365. It also has the pet area, which is very unusual for Tesla Superchargers, where there is a pet station. So it got a check mark for that. And it also had the picnic area with tables outside, which is not always seen, but at this location it was. So for snack and dining options, it has both in the attached facility. There is a Dunkin' Donuts and also the convenience store for snack options. There were trash cans and squeegees. Inside the facility, there was also 24/7 bathrooms. I did check under the photovoltaic canopy, and there was attached lighting there as well, but there's also lighting in the stalls that were not underneath the canopy. So they did a very good job of adding lighting for the entire station. Now let's get into concentration. Again, it got all 10 points. That's really saying something. There's just 60 is more than enough for this area. Obviously, Interstate 95 is a heavily traveled corridor, but it being the largest site on the eastern seaboard, there's really no arguing how many stalls and it being sufficient. For location, it only got 1 point taken away, which is less than 50 miles from the nearest public fast charger, basically filling in a charging desert. That's not the case here. On Interstate 95, there's actually multiple charging stations up and down Interstate 95. There is other Tesla Superchargers as well. However, it did score very well for being close to the interstate exit. Sometimes Tesla Supercharger stations are kind of far away from interstate exits. You have to go to like an anchor mall or something like that. But in this case, it's immediately off the exit, so it got all of those points as well. Now let's talk speed. Because the dispensers do not do 350, they do 250. It did get a point taken away for that. However, the aggregate throughput of the site exceeded what the scoring has available. So it got 9 points in this category as well, bringing the total points to 47 out of 50. And I would like to point out that this is the highest score that any location has ever received as long as I've been doing this.
So there you have it, the largest electric vehicle charging station on the east coast of the United States. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching.